Welcome back to Alien Watchers. In today's video, we'll follow the thrilling journey of Alex and his crew as they face ancient secrets, powerful organizations, and a spaceship that holds unimaginable power. From battling the Voidborn to life or death decisions, this story will keep you hooked. Get ready for an adventure that will make you question what's really out there in the vastness of space. Alex had always dreamed of one thing: exploring the stars. He had spent countless nights staring up at the sky, wondering what lay beyond the stars, the planets, and the endless stretches of space. It was his biggest dream, one that seemed impossible for someone like him, a regular Earthling with no special skills, no money, and certainly no connections to anyone in the space exploration industry. But that all changed one fateful day. It all started in a forgotten corner of Earth, a remote wasteland of scrap metal, abandoned buildings, and overgrown flora. Alex was out for one of his usual walks, a break from his humdrum job at the local tech store, when he stumbled upon something that would change his life forever. At first, he thought it was just another piece of old, useless junk. But as he stepped closer, he realized it was something far more important: a spacecraft. The hull was damaged, covered in dirt and rust, but it was unmistakably a ship from the stars. He could hardly believe his eyes. The structure was elegant in its design, though the years of neglect had taken their toll. But it wasn't just any spaceship. It was an advanced model, one like anything that was supposed to exist on Earth. His heart raced as he carefully examined the ship. There were no markings to indicate its origin, no familiar logos or insignia, just the plain, faded metal surface covered in dust and grime. It looked like it had been abandoned for years, maybe even decades. "I can't believe this," Alex muttered to himself, running his fingers along the hull. It wasn't just any space junk. It was the ship, the kind he had always dreamed about, and now it was right here, just waiting for him. As Alex tried to figure out how to board the ship, he noticed a small hatch near the bottom. It was barely visible, hidden under a layer of grime. He hesitated for a moment, but then grabbed a nearby piece of metal and pried open the hatch. The interior was a mess of wires, circuits, and broken equipment. It looked like the ship had been abandoned without anyone bothering to salvage anything of value. But to Alex, it didn't matter. This was his ticket to the stars. He could fix it. He had to fix it. After hours of cleaning and tinkering with the systems, he managed to get the ship's main systems powered up. The lights flickered on, and the hum of the engines buzzed to life. His heart pounded in his chest as he realized that he had done it. He was going to space. As Alex marveled at the progress he'd made, he noticed something strange. A soft mechanical hum emanated from one of the walls. Before he could investigate, a panel slid open in the wall, revealing a robot standing perfectly still. "Hello, I am R3X9, your assistant," the robot said in a calm, neutral voice. Alex jumped back in surprise, nearly falling over. "What the hell? Where did you come from?" "I was activated upon the awakening of the ship's systems. I am here to assist you in any way possible," R3X replied, its mechanical voice almost cheerful. Alex stared at the robot. It looked like a typical humanoid design, with metal plating covering most of its body, but there was something about its presence that was both unsettling and oddly comforting. The thing was, Alex had never expected to find a robot in a ship like this, let alone one that could talk. Thanks, I guess. Do you know how to fly this thing?" Alex asked, his voice a mix of awe and skepticism. R3X tilted its head, its glowing blue eyes scanning Alex. "Of course. However, I must point out that the pilot needs a certain degree of competence. You appear inexperienced." Alex frowned. "Hey, I know how to fly a drone. How different could this be?" R3X responded with a soft mechanical laugh. "Flying a drone and piloting a spacecraft are not quite the same thing, human." Annoyed but intrigued, Alex climbed into the cockpit, ready to try his hand at flying. He was determined to make this work, even if it meant relying on the robot's help. The moment he hit the ignition, the ship rumbled to life, lifting off the ground. The sensation of rising into the air was thrilling, but Alex's heart nearly stopped as the ship lurched forward, nearly slamming into a nearby building. "Steady, human?" R3X said, its voice calm and a little condescending. "I suggest you follow my guidance if you wish to remain in one piece." Alex gritted his teeth. "I'm doing fine," he snapped, but he quickly realized that he wasn't. The controls felt far too complicated, and the ship was moving erratically, far from the smooth ride he had imagined. R3X sighed. I will take over, for your own safety. Before Alex could protest, the robot's hands moved swiftly, overriding the ship's systems with ease. The ship leveled out, and everything settled. Well, that was unexpected, Alex muttered. Indeed. Now, would you like to continue your space exploration, or would you prefer to crash and burn? R3X asked, its tone dripping with sarcasm. Alex slumped in his seat, realizing that he was in way over his head. Okay, you take the wheel. But I'll learn this. One day, I'll fly this ship on my own. R3X paused for a moment before responding. Very well, human. But I warn you, learning to pilot a spacecraft is not as simple as your childish drone fantasies. With a sigh, Alex leaned back in the cockpit, staring out at the vast expanse of space opening up before him. For the first time, he felt like he was truly free. This was the start of his journey, and he wouldn't let anything, especially a talking robot, stand in his way. The ship had been traveling through the void of space for several days. The Eclipse was a sleek, powerful vessel, and Alex was starting to get the hang of flying it. Well, sort of. R3X had been an excellent teacher, though his teaching style left a lot to be desired. Now, try not to crash into another asteroid, human, R3X said from the navigation seat, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Space isn't a bumper car track as much as you seem to think so. Alex shot the robot a glare. I'm doing fine. Stop being such a backseat driver. R3X didn't reply, though the robotic smirk on his face was evident. Sure, you are. Keep telling yourself that. The stars stretched endlessly before them as the ship soared through the infinite abyss. Alex could hardly believe it. He was really in space, actually living his dream. However, there was still a lot to learn, and he knew that the road ahead would be filled with dangers. What's next? Alex asked, looking at the ship's holomap. R3X analyzed the map, his eyes glowing. We're approaching a planet. Its name is Drakara. It's a rough place, home to mercenaries, pirates, and all kinds of unsavory characters. We should be cautious. Alex leaned back in his seat, considering R3X's warning. A dangerous planet, huh? Well, that sounds perfect for a little adventure. Before R3X could respond, the ship's sensors suddenly beeped loudly, cutting through the silence. Warning, incoming hostile ship detected. Size, large. Class, pirate vessel. Alex's heart skipped a beat. Pirates? You said this place was dangerous, but I didn't expect an attack so soon. They must have seen us coming, R3X replied, his voice now cold and calculating. I suggest you prepare for battle. With quick reflexes, Alex grabbed the ship's controls, his palms sweaty. What do I do? How do I fight these guys? You try not to crash again, for starters, R3X quipped. Then I'll handle the weapons. Alex groaned. Fine. You take the weapons, but I'm flying this ship. As the pirate vessel closed in on them, Alex struggled to keep the ship steady. It felt like he was flying through a storm, the ship jerking this way and that, as lasers from the pirate ship began to fire upon them. Brace for impact, R3X ordered, just as a blast rocked the ship, sending a violent tremor through the hull. The pirate ship loomed large on their radar, and its weapons fire continued to pummel their shields. Alex could hear the whirring of the weapon systems as R3X took control, immediately returning fire. You're not nearly as bad as you think, human, R3X said as laser blasts tore through the space around them, hitting the pirate ship. Alex grinned. Told you I could handle this. You're just lucky I'm the one doing the actual fighting, R3X responded, a playful tone in his mechanical voice. But if you want to keep your ship intact, you'll need to get us closer. Now. If you miss this next pass, we're done for. Alex's eyes narrowed as he lined the ship up for another run. He gritted his teeth, focusing entirely on his piloting skills. The pirate vessel fired another volley of blasts, and for a moment, Alex thought they were done. But in a split second, he pulled the ship into a sharp roll, dodging the blasts and coming up directly behind the pirate ship. Now! R3X barked. Alex slammed his hand on the fire button, and the ship's cannons erupted with fire, launching a barrage of laser beams. The pirate ship's shields flickered, then cracked under the assault. The ship began to break apart, smoke billowing from its engines. With one final blast, the pirate ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The space around them was filled with debris. Well, that was easy, Alex said, breathing heavily. Don't get cocky, human, R3X replied. They'll have reinforcements soon. We should prepare too. Before R3X could finish, a strange transmission came through the ship's communication system. "Hey, nice work back there," a voice crackled through the speakers. "That was one hell of a fight." Alex looked at R3X, his eyebrows raised. "What the hell? Who is that?" The voice continued, unfazed by Alex's confusion. "Name's Zane. You just took down a pirate ship, and I need someone to talk to about that. You free for a little chat? I think you and I could work together." R3X raised an eyebrow, though no one could see it. "This could be interesting," the robot said, slightly intrigued. "Proceed, human. I'm curious about this." "Zane." Alex tapped the communication button. "This is Captain Alex of the Eclipse. You're Zane?" "Yeah, that's me," came the smooth, confident voice from the speaker. "I've been following you for a while now. I was going to help out, but it looks like you've got everything under control. But hey, I'm in the area, and I'd love to meet you face to face." Alex felt a wave of suspicion. "I'm not sure I trust you. Why would you help us?" Zane chuckled. "I'm not asking for anything, Captain. I just thought you looked like you could use some help, and I've got skills you might need. How about it?" After a brief pause, Alex looked over at R3X. The robot nodded, indicating that it was probably safe to hear Zane out. "All right, Zane. We're landing on Drakara. Meet us at the docking bay," Alex replied. "But if you try anything funny, I'll blast you myself." Zane laughed. "Don't worry, Captain. I'm not looking for trouble yet." The Eclipse glided smoothly through the endless expanse of space, the stars stretching before Alex and his growing crew like a canvas waiting to be explored. The days had been filled with training, teamwork, and occasional bickering, mostly between Alex and R3X, of course. But they were a team now, even if the robot's relentless sarcasm sometimes made Alex question his sanity. Zane, the mercenary turned ally, had proven useful, teaching Alex more about combat and space tactics than he'd ever learned back on Earth. Zane's battle-hardened skills were a welcome addition to their motley crew, and although he was a little too smug for Alex's liking, there was no doubt that he was a force to be reckoned with. "All right. What's next?" Alex asked, sitting in the captain's seat. His hands were still sweaty from their last encounter with a group of space pirates. He could feel the tension in the air, even though they were now several light years away from their last fight. R3X, who had been observing a holomap of nearby star systems, looked up. "There's a planet not far from here, Mechanus. It's a tech-heavy world known for its advanced robotics and engineering. I believe we could use some upgrades to the ship's systems. And if I'm being honest, it's not a bad place to find skilled engineers." Alex raised an eyebrow. "That sounds promising, but why does it feel like you're implying something?" R3X smirked, though it was hard to tell behind its metallic face. "I'm not implying anything. I'm stating facts. You'd need to be a fool not to recognize that the Eclipse is in dire need of some adjustments. Not that I'm complaining. Your pilot skills are, well, fascinating to observe." Yeah, I get it," Alex muttered, rolling his eyes. "Let's head there. We'll see what they can do for us." Upon arrival at Mechanus, the planet immediately felt different. The air was thick with the hum of advanced technology, and towering skyscrapers made of gleaming metal and glass reached toward the sky. Unlike the wild, lawless world of Drakara, Mechanus was a hub of innovation and order, though there was an underlying tension in the atmosphere, an undercurrent of danger that couldn't be ignored. As they entered the planet's orbit, Alex set the ship down in a designated docking bay. The bay was bustling with engineers, technicians, and other spacecraft. The ship's landing gear hissed as it touched down, and the whir of machinery filled the air. "Well, this is impressive," Alex muttered, gazing out at the city below. "Indeed," R3X replied, "but I sense something off. The atmosphere here is colder than it appears. I suggest you stay alert." "Great. Now you've got me paranoid," Alex said with a frown. "Anyway, let's find this engineer and get what we need." They disembarked from the ship, stepping into the bustling tech district of Mechanus. Neon signs flashed overhead, advertising everything from cybernetic enhancements to hyper-efficient engines. Alex's eyes darted around, taking in the sights, but he quickly realized something. The people here were not just engineers. They were experts in their fields, each of them a cog in the vast machine that made this planet tick. After walking through the crowded streets, they arrived at a small, unassuming shop tucked between two massive buildings. A sign above the door read Kira's Engineering Solutions. Inside, the walls were lined with advanced tech, from floating drones to custom-built cybernetic limbs. But there was something about the place that felt personal. It wasn't just a factory, it was a workshop, a place where innovation came to life. She's supposed to be one of the best engineers on this planet, Zane said, eyeing the place. Let's see if she lives up to the hype. Before Alex could respond, the door to the back room slid open, and out walked a woman who immediately caught Alex's attention. She was tall, with sharp features and intense eyes that seemed to see straight through him. Her hands were covered in grease, and her short, messy hair suggested that she had been working nonstop. Despite her appearance, there was a quiet authority about her, a sense of confidence that made Alex respect her instantly. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice calm but direct. "You must be Kira," Alex said, stepping forward. "We're looking for someone who can make some upgrades to our ship." Kira's eyes flickered to the group, sizing them up. Then she smiled faintly. "And what makes you think I'll help you?" she asked, almost as if daring Alex to give her a reason. Alex opened his mouth to respond, but before he could say anything, R3X spoke up. "We need enhancements. Your work is legendary on this planet, and we believe you can help us. Don't waste our time with needless hesitation. We don't have all day." Kira's smile didn't falter. Instead, she turned to R3X, her eyes narrowing. "A talking robot with an attitude. Just what I need," she said, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "And I suppose you're the one who makes decisions around here, huh?" R3X's eyes narrowed. "Not quite, but I do make the important decisions, such as whether or not we choose to deal with a certain engineer who might not be up to the task." The tension in the air was palpable, but Kira didn't back down. She stepped closer, examining R3X. "You must be R3X9, the Eclipse's AI assistant, right? I've heard of you. You've got a reputation." "And what kind of reputation might that be?" R3X replied, sounding intrigued. "One for being insufferably smug and full of yourself," Kira said with a wink. Alex chuckled, watching the exchange between them. Okay, let's cut the banter. We need upgrades, and you're the best. What do you say?" Kira crossed her arms, still looking them over. "All right, I'll help you, but it's not going to be cheap. I've got a reputation to uphold, after all." As the conversation shifted to the specifics of the upgrades they needed, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that Kira was hiding something. There was an edge to her that wasn't just the sharpness of her skills. It was something deeper, something buried beneath the surface. Later that evening, as Alex was preparing to leave, he overheard a conversation between Kira and one of her associates. He had always considered himself good at reading people, and the tone in her voice spoke volumes. Something wasn't right. "Just make sure it's done quickly. I don't want my past catching up with me," Kira said, her voice low, almost pleading. Her associate nodded, though Alex couldn't hear the rest of the conversation. When Kira caught him listening, she turned and walked up to him, her expression unreadable. "Keep this between us, okay?" she said, her voice now serious. "There are things I've done that I'm not proud of, things that might come back to haunt me if I'm not careful." Alex nodded, sensing the weight of her words. "I won't ask," he said, "but I can't help but wonder, what are you running from?" Kira's gaze softened for a moment, but then it hardened again. "It's nothing you need to worry about. Just focus on getting your upgrades, Captain. That's all I'll say." Alex couldn't shake the feeling that he had just peeled back a tiny layer of a much bigger mystery. But he knew better than to press further. For now, they had a job to do, but something told him that Kira's past wasn't going to stay buried for long. After leaving Mechanus, Alex and his crew continued their journey through the galaxy. With Kira's upgrades to the Eclipse now complete, the ship was in top shape, its systems faster, more efficient, and capable of handling the rigors of deep space travel. R3X had been a valuable asset, coordinating repairs and guiding them with its unparalleled knowledge of star systems. Zane, ever the mercenary, had sharpened their combat skills, teaching Alex how to handle himself in a fight. But despite their newfound confidence and the ship's enhanced capabilities, Alex knew that space was still a dangerous place. And they were about to find out just how dangerous. The crew had been traveling for several days, heading toward a distant mining colony on the edge of the galaxy when they detected an incoming transmission. It was a distress signal from a civilian transport ship. Unidentified ship, this is the Titan Star. We are under attack by space pirates. We repeat, we are under attack. Please help. Alex quickly leaned forward in his seat, glancing over at Zane. Pirates. Huh? Looks like we've got a chance for some action. Zane, always eager for a fight, cracked his knuckles. I've dealt with pirates before. This should be fun. Let's go rescue them. R3X, who had been analyzing the situation, chimed in with its usual sarcastic tone. Ah, yes, the hero complex. How charming. But remember, human, the pirates may be expecting help, and they may not be as grateful as you think. R3X, you're a buzzkill, Alex said, but he couldn't shake the feeling that the robot had a point. Pirates in space weren't exactly known for their thank you notes. They adjusted the course, and within moments, the Eclipse arrived at the scene of the attack. The Titan Star, a large civilian transport, was surrounded by a group of pirate ships, their laser cannons firing on the defenseless vessel. All right, we'll need to disable their weapons before they tear that ship apart, Zane said, his tone sharp. We don't want to blow them up, just give them a reason to reconsider their choices. On it, Alex responded, taking the controls. The Eclipse roared to life as it moved into position behind one of the pirate ships. Here we go, Alex muttered to himself, focusing on the controls. Steady. The pirate ships noticed them just as the Eclipse prepared to fire, but it was too late. Alex pulled the trigger, and the ship's cannons fired a volley of powerful shots at the pirate vessel, hitting its shields with a burst of energy. The pirate ship rocked, its shield flickering under the assault. R3X, who had been controlling the weapon systems, didn't waste any time. Targeting their engines now. Prepare for evasive maneuvers, human. As Alex dodged incoming fire from the pirates, he could hear R3X's calm instructions through his earpiece. Move left, now right, raise the shields. Good, now hit them with everything you've got. The Eclipse weaved through the chaos, dodging fire from multiple directions, while its weapons locked onto the pirate ships one by one. Alex's hands were shaking with the adrenaline, but he kept his focus. Zane, from his position behind them, added to the chaos by launching a barrage of missiles at another pirate ship. The battle raged on, with explosions lighting up the darkness of space. The pirates were well coordinated, but the Eclipse was faster, smarter, and more prepared. After a few minutes of intense combat, one of the pirate ships was destroyed, its wreckage scattering across space. The others began to break off, realizing they were outmatched. Nice work, Zane, Alex said, breathing a sigh of relief as the last pirate ship retreated into the depths of space. I could have done more, Zane said, wiping the sweat from his brow, but I'll take the win. R3X was uncharacteristically quiet for a moment, then said, I must admit that was efficient, but you were lucky. Pirates are unpredictable, and next time they may not run so easily. Alex nodded, his heart still racing. Thanks for the heads up, R3X, but I think we can handle ourselves. The Titan Star sent a transmission, its captain's voice crackling through the comm system. Thank you so much for your help. We were about to be boarded when you arrived. We owe you our lives. Alex smiled and waved off the gratitude. No problem. Just doing our part. Glad we got here in time. Zane leaned back in his seat. I don't think they're going to send a thank you card for this one. I don't care, Alex replied, still riding the adrenaline rush. We saved them, and that's what matters. But R3X wasn't finished. Oh, how quaint. You saved them. Well, I'm sure they'll never forget you. Probably until they encounter another pirate raid next week. All right, R3X, that's enough, Alex said with a smirk. Let's head to the mining colony. As they prepared to leave, Alex couldn't help but think about the pirates they had just fought. He knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was a dangerous place, and no matter how much they tried to avoid it, they would always be drawn into these fights. But in the end, that's what made it all worth it. The adventure, the thrill, the feeling that they were doing something important. He turned to R3X. You know, for all your sarcasm, you're actually pretty useful in a fight. R3X didn't respond right away. Instead, it paused and then said, I suppose I can't argue with that, but let's see how you handle the real dangers next time. And human. The Eclipse drifted through the endless reaches of space, its systems humming steadily after the battle with the pirates. Alex sat in the captain's chair, gazing out at the stars. The thrill of victory had faded, replaced by a sense of uneasy curiosity. He could feel it, the pull of something greater than what he had signed up for. The galaxy was vast, and their journey had only just begun. R3X, I need to talk, Alex said, breaking the silence. The robot's voice responded almost immediately. I'm sure you do, human. You've been quiet for a while, but you'd better make it quick. We still have a mission to complete. I've been thinking a lot, Alex began, rubbing his forehead. We know so little about you, about the Eclipse. This ship, it's not like anything I've seen before. And you're not just any robot. There's something off about both of you. R3X's optical sensors glowed briefly as if processing the question. I'm afraid you are correct. The ship's origins are complicated, but your curiosity will get you in trouble if you're not careful. Alex leaned forward, feeling a mixture of excitement and frustration. I'm not asking for a whole history lesson, but we need to know. Where did this ship come from? Why are we being hunted by pirates? And what's the deal with you, R3X? There was a long pause before R3X finally spoke. Fine, I suppose it's time you learned a little more about us. The ship's interior shifted slightly, the lights dimming and the holographic projection system activated, casting a blue glow across the room. A map of the galaxy appeared before Alex's eyes, showing the route they had taken so far. But there was something more. Lines connected to certain star systems, all leading toward an unknown sector. This, R3X began, its voice quieter now, almost as if it were speaking to itself, is where it all began. The Eclipse is part of a forgotten project known as the Lords of the Void, a research faction, highly secretive, that once operated on the fringes of the galaxy. They were focused on harnessing the power of deep space, creating weapons and technologies far beyond what you would consider normal. The ship you are aboard was built with one purpose: to find someone lost to time. Alex blinked, absorbing the information. Wait, you're telling me this ship is some sort of weapon, and it's been out here for who knows how long? Yes, R3X confirmed, its tone almost reluctant, and I was designed as its primary assistant, tasked with protecting the ship and its secrets. I was not always the personality you see today. I was created with a singular function, but over time I developed. I suppose you could say I gained sentience, though it wasn't exactly by design. Alex ran a hand through his hair. This is crazy. So you're saying the ship is part of some top-secret project, and you're not just some robot assistant? Correct, R3X replied. But there's more. The Lords of the Void were not just scientists. They were looking for something ancient, a power that could change the fabric of the universe itself. Something hidden in a forgotten sector of space, and they believed this ship could find it. Find what? Alex asked, feeling his pulse quicken. I don't know, R3X answered almost too quickly. I was never fully informed. My programming was deliberately limited. But I do know this. The Lords of the Void failed. They disappeared, and their enemies came for them, wiping out everything they had worked for. That's when the ship, along with its AI, was locked away and left to drift. Until you found it. Alex leaned back in his chair, the weight of the revelation sinking in. So, you're saying the ship was abandoned, just left out here, and now it's in my hands? Not just in your hands, R3X said, almost with a trace of amusement. It's your responsibility now. You and the Eclipse are tied together in a way that you cannot yet understand. The fate of the ship and the fate of the galaxy might very well rest on your shoulders. Alex felt a shiver run down his spine. Great, so no pressure then. Precisely, R3X replied dryly. Now, if you don't mind, I suggest you get back to the controls. There's another signal coming in. This one isn't a distress call. It's a warning. The sudden alert broke the tension, and Alex quickly shifted back into command mode. R3X, what are we looking at? A holographic screen appeared before him, showing a small fleet of ships in the distance, their dark silhouettes stark against the backdrop of a nearby nebula. These ships are not pirates, Alex, R3X said, its tone more serious now. They belong to a faction known as the Voidborn, remnants of the Lords of the Void. The Voidborn? Alex asked. Are they after the ship? They are after something much more valuable, R3X explained. They are trying to locate the core of the ship, the central AI core. The Eclipse was designed with a power source that is unlike anything in the known universe. The Voidborn want it. The Eclipse drifted silently through the void of space. After the battle with the Voidborn, the crew had been on high alert, constantly watching the stars, expecting another attack at any moment. R3X had been unusually quiet for the past few hours, its optical sensors flickering as it analyzed star maps and data streams. Alex sat in the captain's seat, eyes scanning the stars outside the ship's viewports. The vast emptiness of space was oddly comforting. They had won their last battle, but Alex couldn't shake the feeling that they were being hunted. There was something out there, something that wanted the Eclipse and what it contained. R3X, Alex called out, breaking the silence. What's the next move? We are approaching an anomaly, R3X replied, its voice cold and distant. A planet called Hyon. It's located on the outer edge of this star system. Its readings are unusual. This planet has been abandoned for centuries, but there are still strange energy signatures emanating from its surface. Abandoned? What's on it? Alex asked, his curiosity piqued. It's difficult to say, R3X responded. The planet is cloaked in darkness, both literally and figuratively. The energy source is unstable, and there are multiple readings of disturbance in the planet's core. We should avoid it. Alex raised an eyebrow. So you're saying we should just pass by it? Not necessarily, R3X answered. But we cannot ignore it. There may be something valuable or dangerous hidden there. It's a place steeped in shadows, Alex, the kind of place where secrets are buried. Zane, who had been monitoring the situation from the communications station, turned to face Alex. Dangerous, huh? I've been to some pretty messed up places in my time, but if R3X is telling us to stay clear, I'm not sure we should be messing with this. What's the worst that could happen? Alex said, half joking. We've been through worse, right? Ha, famous last words, Zane muttered, but there was a hint of concern in his voice. R3X didn't share their lighthearted attitude. It's not about what could happen. It's about what will happen if we venture too close to Hyon. The last crew that tried to explore the planet disappeared without a trace. I've analyzed their data logs. They were corrupted. Corrupted? Alex repeated. Like infected by some kind of virus? I don't know, but whatever it was, it spread quickly through their systems. Their AI was the first to fail. The crew started experiencing hallucinations, and then they simply stopped responding, R3X explained, its tone somber. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. Sounds like we should avoid it. R3X's lights flickered. That's what I'd suggest, but your curiosity might be your undoing, Captain. Hyon holds many secrets, some of which are better left untouched. As the Eclipse neared the planet, the dark surface of Hyon became visible. It was a barren, desolate world, its surface covered in jagged mountains and swirling storms. The atmosphere was thick with dark clouds, and there was no sign of life anywhere. The ship's sensors detected powerful energy signatures deep beneath the planet's surface, pulsing with an eerie, unnatural rhythm. Alex couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them, though he couldn't explain why. Let's get closer, Alex said, his voice steady but laced with uncertainty. We're here. Let's see what we're dealing with. Zane stood up from his seat, a nervous grin on his face. You're really doing this? All right, let's get some answers. But if we get stuck on that rock, I'm blaming you, Captain. The ship began its descent into the atmosphere, the sensors warning them about the thick clouds that would make navigation difficult. The Eclipse trembled slightly as they entered the planet's atmosphere, and the darkness outside grew even more intense. It felt as though they were sinking into a vast, impenetrable void. R3X, what are we looking for down there? Alex asked, his grip tightening on the controls. We're looking for the source of the energy signatures. R3X replied, its voice becoming more serious. But we must proceed with caution. The planet is unstable, and the energy may be too much for your ship to handle. Understood, Alex said, his eyes narrowing. Let's take it slow. They flew deeper into the storm, and soon the ship broke through the clouds, revealing a massive, ancient structure in the distance. It was partially buried in the planet's surface, covered in thick layers of dust and debris. The structure looked like a giant temple, its sharp spires piercing the sky. The energy readings were coming from deep inside. We're not alone, Zane muttered, his voice low. Look at that place. That's no ordinary ruin. R3X's sensors detected movement. There are life forms near the structure, but these are not normal life forms. They are inhuman. Before Alex could respond, the ship was jolted by an intense electromagnetic pulse. The controls went haywire, and Alex struggled to regain control. The Eclipse was being pulled toward the surface, as if an invisible force was guiding them. R3X, what's happening? Alex shouted, panic rising in his voice. Brace yourselves, R3X said, its voice calm, but the urgency was clear. We are being drawn in by the planet's core energy. I cannot override the pull. Prepare for crash landing. The Eclipse plummeted toward the surface, the winds howling around them as the storm intensified. Alex fought with the controls, but the ship's systems were failing, its hull groaning under the pressure of the atmosphere. With a final, deafening crash, the ship landed on the planet's surface, skidding across the rocky terrain. Dust and debris filled the air as the ship came to a stop. We're down, Alex said, exhaling sharply. Is everyone okay? I'm fine, Zane said, standing up and brushing himself off. You, Captain? Lucky we didn't end up as space junk, Alex replied, trying to shake off the adrenaline rush. What now? R3X's voice came through, sounding more serious than ever. Now, we face what's lurking in the dark. The Eclipse lay in the shadow of the ancient structure on Hyon, its hull battered from the crash landing, but still intact. The air was thick with tension as Alex and his crew slowly gathered themselves after the harrowing descent. Outside the ship, the planet's eerie, oppressive atmosphere seemed to close in on them. The storm still raged, but the unsettling silence of the place was worse. Everyone all right? Alex asked, checking the status of the crew. I'm fine, Zane replied, rubbing his neck where the seatbelt had chafed him during the crash. Could have been worse, but I've had worse. Let's just hope the ship's still got some fight in it. I'm intact, Kira said, her voice calm but her eyes scanning the ship's systems. The hull's holding, but the damage to the engines is significant. We need to figure out what's going on here before we try to leave. We have bigger problems, R3X chimed in, its voice colder than usual. We've detected an incoming signal from the Galactic Organization. They've been tracking us. Alex felt his blood run cold. The Galactic Organization? I thought they were just a myth, some kind of shadow empire working behind the scenes. They're real, R3X replied, a hint of grimness in its voice. And they want the Eclipse. Zane raised an eyebrow. Why the hell would they want a random ship like ours? Not just any ship, R3X said. The Eclipse is a relic from an ancient time, created to find something lost to the universe. And the Galactic Organization has been hunting that artifact for centuries. Alex took a deep breath. So they know what this ship is capable of? They know more than you think, R3X replied. The Galactic Organization was responsible for the downfall of the Lords of the Void. Their goal is to reclaim the power that was hidden within the ship. Power that, if unleashed, could reshape the galaxy. Zane's eyes narrowed. Great, so we're sitting on a time bomb, and now the people who destroyed the Lords of the Void are coming for us. Exactly, R3X confirmed. And they're not the only ones. There are others who want the power hidden within the Eclipse, but the Galactic Organization is by far the most dangerous. The atmosphere inside the Eclipse grew heavy. The crew was now facing something far worse than pirates, far worse than anything they had encountered before. The Galactic Organization was a shadowy faction that controlled vast swaths of space and used ruthless tactics to bend entire systems to their will. They had been in pursuit of the Eclipse for years, and now it was clear that they would stop at nothing to reclaim it. R3X's voice cut through the tension. We cannot run. They will track us wherever we go. The only option is to face them head on. Alex nodded, the weight of the decision heavy on his shoulders. All right. We'll face them, but we need a plan. We don't have time for a plan, Zane said, his voice sharp. They're coming. We have to fight. We need to disable their flagship first, Kira interjected, looking at the ship's systems. If we can take down their flagship, we stand a chance, but we'll need the Eclipse in peak condition. R3X's voice echoed in the cockpit. There's a station nearby. It was once a part of the Lords of the Void infrastructure. If you can reach it, you may be able to find the necessary upgrades to help us fight back. Lead the way, R3X, Alex said, gripping the controls. Let's get to that station and make sure we're ready for whatever the Galactic Organization throws at us. The Eclipse lifted off from the surface of Hyon, leaving the dark, oppressive planet behind. The station that R3X had pointed out was located in a remote part of the system, a place where few dared to venture. It was a derelict structure, abandoned for centuries, but still held an eerie presence. The station's technology was far beyond anything the crew had encountered, and Alex knew that this might be their only chance to prepare for the upcoming battle. As they approached the station, the Eclipse was intercepted by a squadron of Galactic Organization ships, their dark forms looming in the distance. "We're not alone," Zane muttered, his hand resting on his weapon. "Here they come." "Take evasive action," R3X commanded, its voice cutting through the chaos. "We have to get to the station." The Eclipse banked hard to the left, narrowly avoiding a barrage of laser fire from the pursuing ships. Harnum. Alex pushed the ship's engines to their limits, darting through the field of asteroids near the station. "Good work, Captain," R3X acknowledged. "Now let's see if we can't even the odds." As they closed in on the station, R3X interfaced with the ship's systems, rerouting power to the weapons and shields. "The station has defensive systems. If you can disable the Galactic Organization ships long enough, we can activate the station's weapons." Alex nodded. "We've got this. Zane, get to the turrets. Kira, help R3X with the upgrades. I'll keep us moving." The battle was fierce. The Galactic Organization ships were heavily armed, but the Eclipse's speed and agility gave them the upper hand. Zane expertly manned the ship's turrets, taking down enemy fighters with deadly precision. Alex flew the ship with calculated skill, weaving through asteroid fields and dodging laser blasts as the Eclipse's shields took hit after hit. Meanwhile, R3X and Kira worked tirelessly to activate the station's weapons. The station came alive with energy, its massive cannons charging up and locking onto the Galactic Organization fleet. "Now!" R3X shouted as the station's weapons fired, sending powerful pulses of energy toward the enemy ships. One by one, the Galactic Organization ships were disabled, their shields collapsing under the onslaught. "This is it," Alex yelled. "We've got them on the ropes." But just as victory seemed within reach, the flagship of the Galactic Organization emerged from the shadows of the station, a massive, heavily armed vessel that dwarfed the Eclipse in size. The battle was far from over. "We'll need to take it down," R3X said calmly. "Target their main reactor. We can disable the flagship with a well-placed shot." "Zane, you ready?" Alex asked, his knuckles white as he gripped the controls. Zane grinned. "Always." With a coordinated attack, the Eclipse launched a concentrated barrage at the flagship, the weapons of the station adding their power to the strike. The flagship's shields flickered and failed, and in a final, decisive move, Alex aimed at the reactor core. The shot landed squarely, and with a massive explosion, the flagship was torn apart. The remaining Galactic Organization ships scattered, their morale shattered. The battle was over. As the Eclipse hovered in the aftermath, Alex let out a deep breath. The adrenaline slowly began to fade, replaced by the realization of what they had just accomplished. "We did it," Alex said, glancing around at his crew. "Yeah, we did," Zane said with a smirk, though there was a tiredness in his eyes. "But they'll be back. Trust me." R3X's voice echoed through the ship. "Yes, but for now, we have secured the Eclipse's future. We've bought ourselves some time." Kira looked out at the wreckage of the Galactic Organization fleet. "This was just one battle. We need to prepare for what's coming next, and we need answers. The Eclipse holds too many secrets, and now the Galactic Organization knows that as well." Alex nodded, his mind already turning to the next step. "We may have won this round, but the real fight is just beginning." The stars streaked past them as the Eclipse soared through the vast expanse of space, its hull now repaired and its systems fully operational after the recent battle with the Galactic Organization. The crew had a brief moment to breathe, but it didn't take long before they realized that the war was far from over. The Galactic Organization had been dealt a significant blow, but the true enemy was still out there, lurking in the shadows. Alex stood in the command center of the ship, his fingers resting lightly on the console. The events of the past few days had left him exhausted, but a lingering sense of unease gnawed at him. The Eclipse, the ship he had come to see as both his greatest ally and his most dangerous weapon, was still hiding secrets, and they were beginning to unravel. "We can't just keep running," Zane said, breaking the silence. He leaned against the bulkhead, his arms crossed. We've been playing defense for too long. It's time to take the fight to them. Alex nodded, his gaze drifting toward the ship's navigation system. You're right, but we need a plan. If we just keep running, we're only delaying the inevitable. R3X's voice echoed from the ship's intercom. The Galactic Organization is not the only threat. There are forces even more dangerous than them that we have yet to encounter, and I fear the Eclipse's true purpose has yet to be fully revealed. What do you mean by that? Alex asked, looking over his shoulder at the robot. There is more to the Eclipse than you realize. It was not just built to find the ancient relics of the Lords of the Void, R3X explained. The ship is a key to something much larger, something that, if activated, could alter the balance of power in the entire galaxy. Kira, who had been examining the ship's systems in the background, turned to face them. And you're just telling us this now? She asked, incredulous. What else are you hiding, R3X? I am not hiding anything, R3X replied evenly. I've only revealed what is necessary for the mission, but the time has come for the Eclipse to fulfill its purpose. As if on cue, a new transmission came through, the signal distorting slightly before a familiar voice echoed through the comms system. This is Commander Helix of the Voidborn. You've been a thorn in our side for long enough. The time for games is over. Prepare to face your true destiny. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the crew in stunned silence. The Voidborn, Zane muttered, his expression darkening. I knew they were still out there. After everything they did to the Lords of the Void, I was hoping we were done with them. They've been hunting the Eclipse ever since the Lords of the Void fell, R3X confirmed. They know what the ship is capable of, and they are not going to stop until they have it. Alex clenched his fists. We can't let them take it. We have to stop them now, before they use the Eclipse to unlock the power hidden within it. Kira stepped forward, her brow furrowed with concern. We don't know what this power is, Alex. If the Voidborn want it that badly, then it's probably something we don't want to find out. We don't have a choice, Alex replied, determination in his voice. The Eclipse isn't just some ship. It's a weapon, and it's in our hands. I won't let anyone else control it. The ship's systems powered up as Alex made the decision. R3X, set a course for the Voidborn stronghold. We're going after them. Understood, Captain, R3X replied. But you should know they're not going to be easy to defeat. The Voidborn are more than just soldiers. They are survivors of a fallen empire, and they have knowledge and technology that far surpasses anything you've encountered. As the ship prepared to leave, Alex turned to Zane and Kira. This is it. We face the Voidborn head-on, and we make sure they don't get their hands on the Eclipse. I'm counting on both of you. Zane smirked, adjusting his weapon. Always happy for a fight. Kira nodded, though her eyes were filled with doubt. We're not just fighting for survival, we're fighting for control of something that could change the galaxy. We need to be prepared for what's coming. The Eclipse slipped into hyperspace, leaving the calm of the stars behind. As they neared the Voidborn stronghold, the tension inside the ship was palpable. The crew knew this would be their hardest battle yet, but they also knew that they had no choice. The Voidborn were coming for the Eclipse, and Alex would be damned if he let them take it. As they emerged from hyperspace, the Voidborn stronghold appeared before them, a massive, fortress-like structure orbiting a barren moon. The station was heavily fortified, surrounded by fleets of Voidborn ships. We've got company, Zane said, eyes scanning the radar, and a lot of it. We'll have to take them out before we can approach the station, Alex said, gripping the controls tightly. Let's make sure they regret ever coming after us. R3X's voice crackled through the intercom. I've analyzed their defensive systems. They are formidable, but not invincible. You'll need to be strategic. Strategic? I thought you knew me better by now, Alex said, flashing a grin. R3X remained silent for a moment before responding. I'm not worried about you, Captain. It's the unknown forces on the other side that concern me. The Eclipse dove into battle, lasers flashing as enemy ships swarmed toward them. The Voidborn fleet was massive, but Alex wasn't about to back down. The ship shook as they fired their weapons, blasting through the incoming ships. Zane fired the turrets with deadly precision, taking out enemy fighters one by one. Kira worked with R3X to disable the enemy's shields, her knowledge of tech proving invaluable as she hacked into their systems. They're more vulnerable than they appear, she said, her voice focused. We can hit them where it hurts. Good work, Alex said. Now let's get close to that station and finish this. As the Eclipse neared the Voidborn stronghold, a massive warship emerged from the station, a ship that dwarfed everything they had seen before. Its weapons fired at them, and the Eclipse rocked from the impact. Hold steady, Alex shouted, pushing the ship's engines to the limit. We've come too far to back down now. R3X's voice was calm but urgent. Their main reactor is located at the core of the station. If you can disable it, the rest of the fleet will be disbanded. I'm on it, Alex said, pulling the ship into a risky maneuver, dodging fire as he lined up for a direct strike. With a final burst of power, Alex fired on the reactor core and a massive explosion ripped through the Voidborn station. The resulting shockwave sent their ship tumbling through space, but the Eclipse held strong. As the Voidborn ship scattered, Alex exhaled a breath he didn't realize he was holding. The battle was over, for now. But the questions remained. We did it, Alex said, his voice low. For now, Zane replied, his eyes scanning the wreckage of the Voidborn fleet. But they'll be back. The Voidborn don't give up easily. R3X spoke up, its voice tinged with something like satisfaction. The Eclipse has fulfilled its purpose for now, but there are still many secrets to uncover, Alex. This is only the beginning. The Eclipse hung in the void of space, its systems fully repaired, and its weapons standing ready for whatever came next. The battle with the Voidborn had been a turning point. They had faced overwhelming odds, fought against impossible enemies, and somehow come out victorious. But the victory felt hollow. The crew knew this wasn't the end. There were still unanswered questions, dangerous forces on the horizon, and enemies who were far from finished with them. Alex sat in the captain's chair, his fingers idly tracing the edge of the console. His mind was heavy with thoughts of the future. The Eclipse had proven itself in battle, but what was its true purpose? And why was it so important to so many factions across the galaxy? R3X, Alex said, breaking the silence. You've been pretty quiet lately. Tell me, what else haven't you told us? There was a pause before R3X responded, its voice tinged with a rare vulnerability. I've revealed all that I can without compromising the mission. But it's true, Alex. There is more you need to know. Much more. Alex's heart raced. What do you mean? What else is there? The Voidborn, the Galactic Organization, they all want the same thing, control of the Eclipse. But why? Why is it so important? R3X's voice shifted, becoming more serious. The Eclipse was not just a weapon or a ship. It was built to unlock a power that could change the course of history. This power, Alex, is not just a relic of the past. It's the key to something much greater, a force older than the stars themselves. Are you saying we've been carrying around a weapon of mass destruction this whole time? Zane asked, stepping into the cockpit, his arms crossed. His usual bravado was gone, replaced by a hint of concern. R3X didn't flinch. Not a weapon, a tool. A tool that, if activated, could reshape the entire galaxy. Kira, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. And what happens when we unlock it? What kind of power are we talking about here? R3X? R3X paused before answering, its tone shifting to something almost regretful. The power of creation and destruction, the ability to alter the fabric of space and time itself. The Lords of the Void sought it, believing it could help them control the galaxy. But in the end, it consumed them. And now the Voidborn and others are trying to use it for their own purposes. Alex's mind raced as he processed the information. So, the Eclipse was a weapon of the Lords of the Void, a ship designed to unlock this power. But now it's in our hands. And you're saying that we could either use it or destroy it? Yes, R3X confirmed. But using the power comes with a heavy cost. If the Voidborn or any other faction gets their hands on it, they will use it to bend the galaxy to their will. You must decide, Alex, will you activate the power, or will you destroy the key before it falls into the wrong hands? Zane stepped forward, his eyes narrowing. Destroy it. No one should have that kind of power. Not the Voidborn, not anyone. It's too dangerous. Kira hesitated, her fingers drumming lightly on the console. But what if there's a way to use it for good? What if it could help us defeat the real enemies, the ones who control everything from the shadows? No, Alex said firmly, his voice cutting through the tension. We've already seen what this kind of power can do. It corrupts, it destroys. We can't let it fall into anyone else's hands. The room fell silent for a moment, the weight of Alex's decision hanging in the air. We're not just fighting for ourselves anymore, Alex said, standing up and turning to face the crew. This isn't just about survival. It's about stopping a cycle of destruction that's been going on for centuries. We've faced enemies, we've fought battles, but this is the real fight, the one that determines the future of the galaxy. Zane nodded, a determined look on his face. You're right, Captain. Let's put an end to it once and for all. Kira's lips tightened into a grim smile. I'm with you. The Eclipse sped toward its destination, an ancient vault hidden deep in the uncharted region of space. The coordinates had been locked in R3X's memory, and the vault was said to hold the key to deactivating the ship's power source. But reaching it wouldn't be easy. The Voidborn had already caught wind of their plan, and the Galactic Organization was still watching. As the Eclipse approached the vault's location, R3X interfaced with the ship's systems, guiding them through the perilous space surrounding the vault. The stars outside grew dimmer, and the ship's sensors began to register strange energy fluctuations. Whatever happens next, we need to be ready, R3X said, its voice more serious than ever. This is the heart of it all. If we activate the power within the vault, we will trigger a reaction that will affect the entire galaxy. We must be prepared to sacrifice everything. Alex gritted his teeth. I didn't sign up for this, but I didn't have a choice. Neither did any of us. The vault came into view, a massive, floating structure in the heart of an asteroid field, hidden away from the prying eyes of the galaxy. The Eclipse maneuvered through the field, avoiding the debris as they approached the entrance. We're almost there, Alex said, his voice filled with resolve. Let's finish this. As the Eclipse landed, the vault's massive doors began to open, revealing a chamber filled with strange, glowing energy. Inside, an ancient artifact rested on a pedestal, the core that powered the Eclipse. But before Alex could make a move, a voice echoed through the chamber. Welcome, Captain Alex, the voice said, cold and calculating. It was a voice Alex knew well, Eclipse's true master, the leader of the Voidborn. You've come for the power, but it will be your undoing. You cannot control what is beyond your understanding. With a final blast, the chamber erupted in a burst of energy. The Voidborn emerged from the shadows, their leader standing at the forefront. The final battle for the galaxy had begun. Thanks for watching today's video. If you love stories about the cosmos, secret organizations, and high-stakes adventures, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an exciting video from Alien Watchers. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned for the next part of the journey. See you in the next video.